My name is Roland Karg. I'm an artist from Keachai, Kansas, and this piece behind me is a sculpture called High Flight. I built it a couple years ago. It's one in a series of 3. I may build a few more. I still think I've got some things to say about it. And the one's here, one's a permanent installation in Chicago, and one's on loan to Westerville, Ohio. I've been an artist for about 35 years. And along the way, we built a metal fabricating facility, a real small one, but we did industrial kind of work and built ovens and furnace stuff. But I'm 70 years old now, and I'm sort of burned out on doing that stuff, so I've gradually quit doing it, but I still own the facility. A couple years ago, I did get involved in a thing where I was building these lockers for a trailer, and they were out of steel. But when they came in, we got these channel-shaped pieces of steel. And while we were there on the floor waiting to weld them up, I got to looking at them, and my guy was looking at them, my welder, and we said, we stood them up and we were rearranged them in a certain way. We had 2 of them, and we went, wow, that's pretty cool. So I went right in on the phone. I called my steel guy and I ordered this 316L, ordered enough to do 3 of these pieces, different heights. So it just turned out to be a really attractive way to present the sculpture, the glass and the stainless. And sometimes, here's the thing, sometimes I have an idea, and then when I build it, no, that was a bad idea. But this one, I kept thinking that the stainless steel and the cobalt glass would look really good together, and this is one of those things when we were done with it, it was really attractive, and it was very photogenic. So it turned out even better than I thought it would. The steel piece of this, the stainless piece, is 10 foot tall, but the whole thing is about 14 feet tall. The glass is made in my glass blowing facility. I blow glass. When you come see me at my shop, I'll either be welding in my metal shop or I'll be blowing glass in my glass shop. So I sort of alternate back and forth between the 2 of them. I decided to enter Voices because we've been traveling through this area for years and actually staying here at this hotel ever since we probably were here maybe the first week or 2 it was open. And so really like this, like the ambiance of the area. So when I was sort of going through the application thing, and I saw the Blue Springs, I went, wow. So we took a look at it and we thought we might have something to say here. And actually we booked the hotel room, and then we found out it was going to be, the sculpture is going to be right here behind the hotel. That was even sort of like I don't know, faith or something. I love the location. I love this view here, and the way this looks against the building, really just perfect. You know, really, to live, we don't really need much. A little box to keep us out of the rain and the weather and stuff, but it's not the way the world works. So immediately when we start looking for a place to live, we want to make it a better place to live. We decorate our homes, we decorate our communities, and we're doing that because it speaks to our soul, not just to our survival, but maybe the most important thing that we own is our soul. And these pieces of art really talk to that. Now, when I was younger, I didn't know I was an artist. I thought I was supposed to be a businessman. So as it went along, but I spent hours in museums and looking at sculpture around the country, really around the world. And then one day I figured out, it was a long, involved process, but I did figure out I was an artist. And so basically this public art is just a better way to enrich our lives, enrich our communities. And people are willing to sacrifice to build these things and install them in their communities. They're doing something special for the towns and cities that they live in. I think they're making them a way better place to live. I'd like to thank the people at Blue Springs for giving us the opportunity to exhibit our work here. I just think this is just an absolutely perfect kind of environment. I know this is not easy, everybody's busy, they got things to do, and so I appreciate the time and effort people put in to help us. They made it real easy, and so thank you very much.
I'm Reverend Marie Swanson from Denver, Colorado, and this is taffeta. Taffeta is part of a series that I have created based on old sewing patterns. This particular piece was made from a pattern from creating a waistband to a skirt, whereas I took just like you would fabric and you would put it together, but I offset it. and then cut it into strips. So this piece was created, I took it, a piece of plate steel, took it to a Boilermaker who had a roller that was about the size of my truck, and then he rolls it up, I pin it, I cut it, and then from that point, after I cut it, then I hook it up between my two trucks with chains and everything, and we pull it apart, we stretch it, put lumber in it. In this end, we actually tied a knot in the piece, and then that's how we come up with the final form. So how the work is painted or finished is that after many, many hours of grinding and sanding and shaping and pulling and welding in cathedral joints to support it and putting on the feet, well, then I go through a process of powder coating, and this is kind of my special process that I've developed with my powder coater. Is that we initially do the 2 shots of color, the yellow and the red, and then I actually go back in and I paint the kind of the colors, the details onto it, and then we finish it again with another coat of clear coat. But in this clear coat, it has a mix of a very, very fine gold fleck in the clear coat. And by doing that, what happens is that right today we have kind of a cloudy day, so we don't get as much as the reflection out of it, but when the sun hits it from the morning to the sunset, as it changes, well, that gold fleck in the clear coat, it's going to actually broaden the spectrum, the color hue. So anytime that you walk by the sculpture, you're going to see super bright yellow all the way down to your dark maroons. And it really creates a really wonderful play of color. When I do this with these colors, it's my hope to create a lot of energy and a vibrancy, because I think that artwork needs to be celebrated. It's something that at least for a moment, when you come by, you feel like you went on vacation at least for 30 seconds, because wondering what is it, what's going on, and it kind of clears your head to be able to continue on with the rest of your busy work, your busy to-do list. So it's whimsical, it's playful, and it even will have a little spring, a little bounce. And you may not even understand my whole story of how I came about and the learning how to do a waistband to a skirt, but at least it'll make you kind of develop a story. Well, what is that? Is it a spring? Is it a turbine for a drill bit? I mean, and you'll come up with your own solutions to the art. That kind of fun or play or whimsical, to me, is what kind of brightens our days, and it puts a little piece of sunshine down, to enjoy. I started creating work for the public. Actually, I declared a Schedule C since 1989, so I've been doing art for the public for quite a few years. It probably wasn't until about 10 years ago that my dad stopped asking me if I'm going to get a real job. So, and he was probably asking me, well, why don't I work in balsa wood? Well, why have I chosen to work in steel? No, I've started creating works for the public for the mere reason that I enjoy putting my work out in a public venue where there are so many people who don't have time to go to galleries and to museums and get to experience contemporary art. And when you put work out in the public and on the sidewalks, the streets, and the gathering, public gathering places, well, it offers an opportunity for people to experience art. I will expect that children will be climbing this. I hope that people go over and push on it to see if it springs, and then they have an opportunity to experience art. That's the main reason why I travel the country with these temporary art installations, bringing artwork to all kinds of communities. Everywhere I go, I get to meet really interesting people, and that kind of is my inspiration. I like to stay, as I'm traveling across the country, I stay at state parks, so I get to wake up in the morning and see lakes and trees and birds and wildlife, and that inspires me to the next piece. The reason why I came to Voices is because that when I read the prospectus, is that the idea of the voices, meaning that this piece to me is a woman's voice, a contemporary woman's voice, and to participate in a program where we can, as artists, we can make a statement, bring it to the public, and that people can enjoy it, is the reason why I said yes. When I saw the perspectives, I'm entering, I hope I get selected. So I feel that public art is very important because I think it's the artists that are going to help put together our culture, make us grow, bring us together, and also create a commonality in terms of, gives us a sense of place, a sense of, I guess, belonging. And things that occur, like big events like 9/11, events like that really are a cultural setback. I think that it's up to the artists for us to give some sort of pressure valve to make sense of these events, and it's so as kind of repair any holes that happen in the cosmic conscious, that we can help bring people together, give them some happiness, give them a chance to reflect, and to have some appreciation outside of what the ordinary things that we see of typical constructions. I would like to give a very big thank you to the City of Blue Springs for allowing me to bring my art. That I know that for all the hours, the countless hours I spend creating this artwork, I know that there are probably tenfold hours of volunteers, folks raising money, trying to figure out how to get the artwork here. And I just want to say that as long as those people are working hard, I'm going to work hard in my studio to bring artwork here.
I think Blue Springs is proud of its public art because it brings people together. We've got art pieces throughout the city that people are proud of, that they can identify with. You look at one piece and it inspires thought, one piece inspires emotion. There are pieces that are whimsical and are just there to bring a smile to your face. We're happy to be a part of this, and I hope people will come and take a look at some of the displays here at the Adams Point Conference Center.
My name is Janet Kimmerline. I'm from Prairie Village, Kansas, and the name of my fiber piece is Fire, Earth, and Water. It's a stitched fiber relief, and it depicts the various elements of fire, earth, and water. And the reason I selected it to enter the Voices competition was not because of the conventional use of voices, but the sounds of fire, the rumblings of earth, and the swishing sounds of water. And I also think, in terms of fiber, as often being very lyrical in and of itself. The technique that I employ in making a fiber sculpture is machine sewing and hand sewing. I use a hem stitching device on a sewing machine and encapsule the yarn in stitches so that it adheres to a background and yet is still visible as yarn. So the reason it becomes a relief sculpture is because there is dimension as the fiber builds up from a background. Well, my very first public 1% for Art competition was in 1976, and it was in Richmond, California, in the Social Security building. And it was a 5 by 30 foot wall hanging. Well, it's very important because the number of people who actually go to museums is only a small percentage of the population. Many people are interested and would be more interested if they were exposed to art. So having pieces, it's always been important to me to have my pieces in public areas where as many people as possible became familiar with original art without having to take a special trip to a museum, which is also a wonderful idea. Well, I think the city of Blue Springs are pioneers in the whole public art movement, and it's very courageous of them and imaginative. And I, as an artist, am very appreciative of their involvement in public art.
My name is Victoria Neiman. I'm from Madison, Wisconsin. This is my work, Breath, and it's aluminum and stainless. It's about 9.5 to 10 foot tall and about 6 foot wide. I've been doing public artworks of, significant scale for maybe 5 years now. I'm kind of just starting out, so shows like the ones in Blue Springs are a perfect fit for me. They, give an emerging artist a nice place to exhibit, and it's really great to be in the public eye. Well, the concept for this piece actually originated with the concept for the show, which was voices, and the leaf itself is, a metaphor in my mind for how verbal communication works. We speak in a way that my statement to you may be interrupted by, your perception or whatever along the way. So what I intend may not be what's there. And in a lot of ways, it's like a leaf that's been tossed around on the wind and maybe decays a little bit over time. In terms of how I build this, I kind of am an intuitive, painterly type of sculptor. I work very on the spot and directly with a paper pattern or some kind of goal in mind, but then I'm free to accept chance and change along the way, and I work with the materials. This in particular, this method is a built-up weld which has been ground down a number of times and rebuilt, and yeah, it's just kind of a process that I love and get into. There's a whole lot of reasons why public art is incredibly important to a community. I think, to me, the most important reasons are the fact that it gives a community its own identity, something they can kind of converge around, and talk about. It's nice to have art that's accessible for people to talk about and, to also be a part of that conversation. I think Blue Springs has done an amazing job with their program here. The work that you've done just since I exhibited last time is wonderful. It's beautiful, the landscaping and the new buildings. It's all really coming alive. It's very vibrant, and it's really nice to be a part of this, and I'm very proud to be a part of this, and I thank you for that.
I'm always excited this time of year. I really appreciate Eleanor Frazier when we have the presentation of our art collection, because it's almost like Forrest Gump. I never know what I'm going to get. But one of the things that she does a great job in, and the committee that she works with, in selecting the people to bring something that's unique to Blue Springs. And again, I am not disappointed again this year. And one of the good things about art, it creates conversation. Art is in the eye of the beholder on what you think it's about and what your values are. And a lot has to do from where you came from. And so again, I'm just excited about the pieces that are being brought here this year. The one standing behind me is very colorful, and I'm certain that I will have conversation with some of my council members and constituents about it. And so the tradition goes on. A lot of times people find that a city our size, 50,000 people plus, but Blue Springs in the state of Missouri is the 10th largest city in the state of Missouri. And we have the type of people here that enjoy all aspects of life. We enjoy the arts, we enjoy sports. We're a complete community. And so certainly this art that we have displayed throughout the city, and if my memory serves me well, I think we have over $1 million worth of art in this community. And that's saying something for a city our size. So anyway, we want to be able to, the residents and the constituents to come out, enjoy it. You see something you like, go out and buy you a piece. Have it at home so you can enjoy it every day. This is Mayor Carson Ross from the great city of Blue Springs, a city on the move.